This is the rapper Ja Rule, and it looks like he's in a club. And this is a magazine, and it shows him with a white woman, and she looks like she's enjoying the moment, and he looks as though that he's not really wanting the camera to capture him, but they got him, and you can see the way his head is shaped, and it's Ja Rule. He's a rapper, and he's been in the forefront more recently for suing because of an incident that happened where him and someone else put together some concert they were going to have, and it was supposed to be at some high-end resort, and it turned out to be a flop, and it was a disaster in the making. So he's being sued more. It's more in the news, like Dish Nation and TMZ talked about it recently. But this right here is not about that issue. It's about white women and rappers and white women trying to sleep with black men, and white women who are claiming to be black women and or wearing black hairstyles, and assuming that if they wear the black hairstyles that they are now included in the black community because they are culturally appropriating themselves to another culture that isn't of their own. And the problem with this is with some black females is that these women haven't had the same struggles as black females have. They hadn't been turned down jobs. They hadn't been turned down opportunities because their hair is a particular way, or it's too ethnic or too black, because they're wearing braids or extensions, or because they look a certain way, or they're dressed a certain way, and it's looked at as unprofessional because it appears to be too Afrocentrist. So a lot of times women like this, they will get involved in maybe a one night stand or like a quick relationship or something short term with a black male, and right away they feel that you should be accepting of this, and maybe it doesn't make a big deal right away, but when you have women who kind of flaunt it, or they act as though you should accept them, and they still hold or harbor a lot of stereotypes or racism, and they haven't really revealed themselves, and the black men just kind of eat it up. They just really are just thinking about one thing. They're not really thinking about having a full-on relationship with these women, and if they do, and if it isn't genuine, it isn't going to work. It's going to flop. So a lot of times, despite what black women are feeling, the discord or discomfort in these type of situations here, some of these women are groupies. They're fly-by-night situations, like maybe they show up to these concerts, they have sex with the men, or they just come around and they jump in photos and they throw their bodies at these men. What is pretty bad is when you have women who, they think if they dress a certain way, or if they're sleeping with a black man, and this doesn't have to necessarily be white women, it could be an Asian woman, it could be a Hispanic woman, or it could be a woman from some other country if she's not black, and because she's in a relationship with a black male or a black person, she assumes that she's going to be right away accepted because she somehow is having some kind of relationship. Sometimes it is genuine. It is a genuine situation. They love each other, despite their backgrounds, even if they're from different cultures. But when you have people that are just doing it because they're experimenting, they've never really been with someone of color, or they're just trying to see all these stereotypes they've heard about black men, black females. Is it really true? Sometimes the relationships don't really work like what people would assume it to be. They don't last. And then you have Rachel Dolezal, who she's worn lots of hairstyles that would quote unquote be like Afrocentric hairstyles, like braids, locks, twisties, curly, like a curly fro. You've seen her in photos, and this woman, there's a whole story behind her. She's actually, in fact, a white woman, but she was involved with the NAACP. You can't get no blacker than that. She had everybody fooled, thinking that she was a woman of color, but just really light complexioned. And believe it or not, we do have people in the black culture that look her skin color and that can pass for white. And so this woman, she somehow pulled it off to pretend as though she was like that, like she was really like a high a light skin, or a mulatto is what some people will refer to, or someone that are of a lighter shade. And we do have people in the black culture who look like this. But for her situation, her parents exposed her and they said she's not a mulatto, she's not a light-skinned black woman, she is a white woman. And so that whole scandal came out, and it was like, wow, it was set off a firestorm of questions and debate and talk shows and everything. And I don't know if this woman did this so she could become famous, but I don't know how her life is going now. But I was looking at an article that was saying that she was having trouble finding or keeping a job, I guess because of the history of her claiming to be a black woman. Now, what the problem with this is, it's not just the hairstyles. That's nothing. That's like small, because you do have like a lot of white women who are wearing hairstyles of braids and Afrocentric styles that you would have seen on a black woman, white women are wearing. It's like some kind of trend or something. But what these women don't have a clue as, and I mentioned it earlier, is that there was a time that black women could not wear their hair like this to work, or maybe even to school even. You had to Madam C.J. Walker it. You had to have your hair straight. You had to wear it in a pressed style, or tame your hair so it didn't look too black or too ethnic, or maybe they would say too, oh, that's too casual, so that they can clean it up so it doesn't sound racist. But this right here, some people now when you see this, you're like, oh, I've seen white girls with braids before, it's no big deal. But some find it offensive because there was a time that you couldn't wear these styles, if you're black and this is from your culture. So that I can understand. It's just that what is frustrating is that you can't get these people of the white culture or of these other cultures to understand how that must have felt. And now they can just happily walk around with these hairstyles without even knowing the history behind them, and what struggles black women have went through with trying to even just wear hair styles of their own culture, ethnicity. When a white woman goes to work and wears her hairstyle as a white woman, she's not told, oh, that's too white, you're acting too white, you need to change your white hairstyle because that's not appropriate. So, with that being said, despite what black women are feeling with these interracial relationships, if they're not for love, if it's not based on love and a true, genuine oneness or unity to be a real couple, then these relationships are not going to work either. Black men carry the same traits that of negativity. If he's bad for black women, he's not just bad for black women, he's bad for other women too. So you have to think about that. So it's not just one group that is dealing with problems in relationships and coupling. It happens even in the white culture. It happens in other cultures where you have men who don't want to hear women talk, or they don't treat their women respectfully, or they're abusive to women, and they may not be black, they may be white, they may be Hispanic, they may be Asian, or they look at women as being beneath them, or they want to control or a woman, or they're not really interested in helping her with the kids, or she might end up being a single white woman with kids. You know, I've recently, believe it or not, I think my mother used to always think that Hispanic culture, they when they get married, they stay in these long relationships and they don't leave their wives. Recently, I don't know if this is an epidemic, but I've been seeing a lot of Hispanic women that have lots of different baby daddies. So that's a whole nother video altogether, but it is happening. So, with that being said, thank you for listening. Ciao.